ladies and gentlemen. Is it still morning? No? Oh. My name is Jason Epting, Jasonepting. I'm here today because I happen to be a North Platte native. I grew up here in Nebraska, and I actually benefited from the public school system here in Nebraska. I'm very pleased with the school system that I've had here, but right now I'll tell you guys all this. I chased a North Platte girl, to North New York, and I've been using my educational talents there for the past 11 years. I have taught at a charter school called Harlem Village Academies Middle School, where I was first the social studies and science teacher. Then I did physical education and ELA, and then I also had the opportunity to teach math as well, because I did get my teacher certification here in Nebraska from University of Nebraska at Kearney, and then also got my graduate degree from University of Nebraska at Omaha. So I do want to let you guys know I'm a Cornhusker for life. And the reason why I'm coming here today is because I want to make sure that we take care of all the students, every single student in Nebraska. Although we have a great public school system here, we should give those same excellent school system to every single kid in every single district. I'm currently the principal of Harlem Village Academy Middle School, where I've been the principal for 6 years, and I can answer a lot of questions that have been posed here today about how we did things. So I'm actually here just to give more insight on some of the things that we did, but I do want you to keep in mind that some of the things that need to happen in Nebraska in order for this to work has to be specific to Nebraska and to Nebraskans. So New York isn't exactly the same as Nebraska. I understand that, but we do have some areas that I do know that everyone's status quo isn't the same everywhere, and their educational experience is not the same in every single school from district to district. And I'm here to talk about how we've overcome some of those things, where some of our kids came from the lowest performing schools. They came in 3 to 4 grade levels below, and then we can get them back on grade level in about 2 years, and then follow them all the way through college so that they're actually graduating from college. 98% of our students at Harlem Village Academies actually got accepted into 4-year colleges, and most of them are first college attenders and their family. So the reason why I'm here is I just want better for our kids in Nebraska and for in Harlem or anywhere than I had for myself.
Thank you for coming back, and thank you for staying a Cornhusker.
Always.
Do you think that Nebraska schools are failing?
I think that Nebraska schools, actually, most of them are doing pretty well. But it's important to think about it this way, though. If there's even one kid or one school that's failing, that's somebody's kid who does deserve the opportunity to have a great education. Every time I look at my students in my school, whether it's Uriah, if it's Kelvin, if it's Sanaya, whoever it is, I got to look at them like they're my own child. I can't just look at them like, well, things are going kind of okay everywhere else, so we'll figure that out later. That's somebody's livelihood. That's somebody's future. And if somebody else can come in and do it better than I can, then I'd rather step down and let them do it. I do understand that there's been a lot of efforts, and everybody's intentions are to do the best they can. Every teacher in this room has best intentions for their kids, for their community, and that's why it's a sacred calling to be a teacher. But if you think about this for a second, if there's one kid who's just not getting what they're supposed to, I invite any teacher to come and see what it looks like when teachers have low expectations for kids. It's the most heartbreaking thing you can see, and then we make excuses for why they can't learn. We just can't do that anymore, because there's been people who figure this out, and I know now we can use that to service every single kid in Nebraska, that they can have the best thing that's tailored for them, even if they're 3 to 4 grade levels behind, and even if their parents were parents in schools that are actually failing.
Do you think that there are failing charter schools?
I do, absolutely. There are some failing charter schools, and they should be closed down immediately. And the reason why there's charters, there's a lot of accountability measures when you bring a charter to any area. We have auditors, we have a board, we have to sometimes provide more evidence than any public school, because it's such a vulnerable situation. We don't want anyone coming in here and saying, hey, I think I can do it, and just do it. I don't think that any of the Nebraskans here would ever let that happen, because you already have a really good system for public school. It's just in some areas, though, we need to put more attention to those, and we don't have time to wait for those school districts to figure it out. I believe that there should be a choice, and because we provided that choice, you should hear some of the stories that our students come and say about what did it mean to be a Harlem Village Academy student? What does it mean for me, and who am I now? Because I went through this educational experience that was tailored directly for them and not a one-size-fits-all model.
And so, in the public school system that we have right now, I have no doubt that maybe there's one or two kids that could be doing better. Do you think that we can fix? So, let's assume for a moment that we accept the premise that there's a public school within the Nebraska school system overall that's not doing well, that could be doing a lot better. Let's just assume that right now, for sake of this argument. Do you think that we could fix that school through our current public school system?
I've looked into this many times, and I don't know everything, right? But it's really difficult to do that from within. Sometimes I've seen people try to turn around schools within, and it's just usually doesn't work that way. Usually, what I found is, and I'm going to say this, like, I think the way that you're saying it, if I'm interpreting it right, it's like we have one or two students. I have to push back on that a little bit because I feel very passionate about this because...
No, that's actually, sir, and I'm sorry to interrupt because I don't want to go down a rabbit hole because I know we got a lot of other testifiers. What I am saying is not that I don't care about one or two students. It's if we have a public school right now that is not up to our expectations or standards, can we change the system so that that public school is up to our standards? And I'll make this note. I'm the executive director and founder of a nonprofit, and I know of nonprofits that I work with that are really tough to change and work with too. And those are the types of nonprofits that would be receiving public dollars and would be running these schools. So I guess the point that I'm trying to get to is that this doesn't change anything. I mean, what we need to do is make sure that we keep having...
I hate to interrupt you, sir, but it does change things because I've actually lived it. That's the whole thing. I think that we're going off assumptions of things we have never seen, but I've seen it with my own eyes. I run my own school. We've written our own charter. I watched 11 years of students go by, and they came in, and I had a culture and a discipline, and we set mindsets. We sat on people's couches and told them that they can achieve greatness. When other people somewhere, and I'm not saying one or two, in our black and brown communities right now, no one's saying that to them. So that's why I push back on you.
Actually, sir, I help run a program where we do that in the public school system.
And they're still failing schools. So tell me now, why are there still failing schools in these districts? And I'm not talking about giving money. Like, if you're with students, and our students come to school at 7:15 in the morning, they leave at 4:30. Our teachers stay there long as well, and they spend all of, New York is a little strange, I don't know why, but in July they have their summer, but all of August we're making this a learning community for the teachers who are actually developing just to be prepared for the students that are coming in. There's some intentionality to some things that charters actually can do, and here's the thing, if there is something that the public school system could do, let's do it, but there are some schools where systematically we've been down this road for so long, and those students are just sitting in there, and their parents are in that school too. There's something that has to be done. I think that you can use different models, you can try different things, but it has to be an intentionality to those actual places. Because the thing is, if my sister who went to Northside Public Schools had a great experience, but there's a kid in Omaha North who does not have a great experience, I just don't think that that's really fair. And I don't think that we don't have much time to keep doing that. We have to bridge that gap, because what we've seen with the school to prison pipeline, and then what we've seen with the data that's even in OPS schools, like why black students are getting suspended more than other students and those things. These are all issues that we have to be transparent about and just do exactly what's needed to make sure that we are giving them the best educational experience with no excuses about poverty and those things. Yes, all my students, it's about 90% free and reduced lunch. So it's still, and that's all the way throughout. And then 30% of my school is have IEPs. And then also we have L learners, which are English language learners, and I have a big refugee population. There's no excuses for why kids can't learn. We just have to be very, very vigilant about doing that, and I just haven't seen that happen every single place. And I think we should look at it as if it was our own kids. My kids, Keenan, Maddie, shoot, I forgot my kid's name. Lincoln. Listen to these names; they're awesome. Lincoln, Creighton, Maxwell. I look at them as the same exact way, and it has to happen for everybody. And the thing is, I don't suspect like there's charter schools popping up and everybody's gonna want to go to them. Think about it for a second. These public school teachers behind me are great teachers. Nobody's gonna try to leave them. You get a good teacher, a good school, a good leader, you stay in that place. But if you know that something's not working, you know that you need something else, they should have a choice to go somewhere else. So I think that teaching is a sacred calling, and when I'm done being a principal, I will teach again. However, I know that there's some work that needs to be done with students who are 2 to 3, 4 grade levels behind, and they need a different kind of education than usually what, at least in New York, what the public school system can provide.
Thank you for coming today, and I appreciate you coming out here and sharing your experience.
Senator Plowski. Are you done here? Senator Walls.
Thank you, Chairman Gurney. I'm just kind of curious, what specific things do you do in charter schools that make it so good,
Okay.
specifically?
Yes, I will tell you what I do in my school. I can speak from my experience, and then you can think about. I do want you to keep in mind that everyone's school is status quo, just like our. Like some schools are dysfunctional. Some schools have discipline issues. Some schools have management issues. They have all lack of leadership issues or poor teaching. That I just wanted to keep that in mind. With that being said, one thing we have longer school hours. We get to pick and choose what our curriculum is going to be. We use Singapore math for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah, we get to pick what's we find, first of all, get diagnostics of our students. We figure out where they are specifically. And each student, we have a plan for them, how they're going to move and proceed. So it's a lot of intentionality on every student having their own educational schedule. We use the best practices all over the country. If we see something that works really well that actually engages students, and like a lot of the students I have need more kinesthetic learning, they need more hands-on experiences, they need more critical thinking because they haven't gone through these things before. We provide that kind of education for them. So I get to pick and choose like what our curriculum is going to be and how we can best meet the needs of our students. And then we track it too. There's accountability measures in everything we do. For instance, we see where a kid is reading when they first come with us, but then we steadily track them to make sure that, and assess them to say, wait a minute, is what we're doing good? And we do that actually daily. So it's not like we wait until a state test and then we go, oh gosh, we didn't do a good job. We look at these things daily, and we teach our teachers even how to look at rubrics on every lesson plan that they have and say, wait, where do our kids fall and what are we going to do tomorrow? So it's that kind of intentionality to our professional development of our teachers, making sure that there's a shared vision too, because if not everybody's on board and everybody's kind of doing their own thing, that's when a school usually fails. And then the other thing is just making sure that you have parents on board for sure. So our parents, if I right now, I've got 16 texts from my parents because every teacher gives out their phone number and they can text at any time just because they need help with their skills or whatever it is, or if there's a discipline issue that actually happens in school. So I would say our school, we built a culture around urgency, but also love. And I think that people buy into those things because they feel like someone cares about them. And if you have somebody, I would shake the hands of every one of my scholars every morning and build personal connections with them, because I think that should happen. I think that should happen everywhere we're building personal connections. But if you have someone telling you every day that you are created for a purpose, you're destined for greatness, even though outside they're telling you, you know what, you're never going to amount to anything. Even their parents sometimes, you're never going to amount to anything. You can stand out on the corner, you can sell drugs, you can do that, you can do this. We're trying to fight those different influences. So just us having a shared mindset and telling them you are destined for greatness and created for a purpose, having that fit all the way through 12, or K all the way through 12, we found that's been very the secrets to our success.
Mm-hmm. And listening to your list, I was a teacher, and I really feel that we do the same things.
You do?
We spend a lot of time in school. We do test just about daily too, as well. It may not be a standardized test, but we're constantly testing and making sure that our kids are understanding the concepts and tracking. We have professional development. There may be a few things that I think that we can work on. Are those things that you feel we could provide training to teachers?
Well, I think
in
that
school
yes,
districts?
any best practice that, well, like I said, I don't care if you're in a traditional public school or traditional or a public charter school or you're in a private school. You have to do the best with the kids that are in front of you. Professional development is always something that you do. Making sure that you're actually looking at what the kids are doing is always that. The problem is, I think we keep assuming that everybody is on the same level, right? So in these schools that we're seeing, something is going wrong, and like it may not just be a development issue. It may be, and here's the thing that's great about my school. I've noticed that I was like, you know what? I have some teachers who have the best intent, and they love kids, and they work hard. They work harder than they don't work harder than me, but they work real close to as hard as I work. And then, but they don't provide results. They might be. I don't know what it is, but I have the opportunity to make sure that I give them a chance to develop them. But if they can't make it, our kids don't have very much time to lose 1 year of learning. They have to go. So that's something I know you can't do right now. And I know that sometimes teachers are even moved or shifted to see if there are better fits in other places. But our kids that are in those failing schools need the best teachers. And I would challenge anyone who thinks they're like a really great teacher to now switch places from their district, go to those schools, do it, and just see what it feels like. So you can now say, okay, now I see the whole picture, and now I appreciate what I do so much more, because now I got to see what everybody's status quo is like. And then all of us will get better if we get to know exactly what's going on at each school. I think there's this assumption that like being good is okay, but when we're talking about kids and like breaking cycles of poverty, and instead of a kid going to jail like his dad went to jail, having a boy who's 14 years old thinking about, man, Mr. Epting said I should have a library in my home. I'm going to start building a library in my home. Now you're making generations change in that. And I think that message, sometimes we can't get that message out, and I'm going to be very transparent here. Sometimes there's a cultural aspect that needs to be addressed too, that sometimes that if you talk to students of color, they feel like they do need to have some things that look more like them, that's culturally relevant to them, so that they can learn in a higher level and a more advanced level, something that's tailored to them.
And that, I really appreciate everything that you said. I sincerely do. There are some things that we can certainly always learn. You guys can learn. Everybody can learn new techniques, new things, new ideas. But I do think that it's something just like you are able to teach a child to go beyond. I think we're able to do that with our public schools.
I hear you, and that's the good intention. You just have to prove it. That's the thing. Like right now, it's like I know that could happen, but it's yet to happen. And I think that we need it to happen. Like if that's Creighton sitting there, you don't have 2 or 3 years to do that. Like you already lost them, and what's happening is like in some school, and this happened in New York, is by the time a kid gets to 8th grade, they're not even functionally literate. But they've been pushed on and pushed on and pushed on because there's this facade that they're actually learning, but there's no evidence that they actually learn. So now we have a bunch of high school dropouts, and then guess what? Now we have a bunch more people who are in prison. These things that we're thinking about right now, there has to be urgency in it, and I have found that in the intentions of New York City Public School is to service the needs of all kids, but that choice did up the ante a lot for how much they were actually doing, and I believe that I'm co-located with the school as well, so I'm co-located with the school PS 194, which is just a traditional public school. We work really closely to get each other. Since I've been there for 11 years, I'm just a guy on campus that kids are looking up to, while my kids are respecting that principle too. So we've learned a lot from each other. That can't happen here. That really can't happen here. There should be a fight between most of my teachers come from public schools, and then either their school wasn't giving them what they needed to grow, and then they came to me and came to us because they felt like they were part of something that they could help build at the same time. So there's a lot of reasons to do this. I just have seen it work. I have testimonies from parents. I have testimonies from my students. There's text messages from a kid who's a senior in college now who's still keeping contact. It's our kids deserve to have something.
How many kids are in your school?
Every year there's 300 kids in my current school, which is my middle school, and it's only 5th through 8th. So our network though has 5 schools. 5 schools. So there's 2 elementaries, there's 2 middle schools, and then they feed together into 1 high school. Once a kid comes into the lottery, which is, and the way it works in New York, I'll clarify this for you. The way it works in New York is actually it's opposite than you think. It's you don't get the cream at all. You actually have to make sure you go after and market the kids that are lower socioeconomic class, the ones that actually live in that low performing area. They get more chances to go to that school than any other kid that tries to come from Miller to Omaha per se. Or I have kids who come in from New Jersey, by the way, all the way to my school, but they applied to be in a lottery, and we can't. It's just like the real lottery. Like whoever gets on, they get on, and whoever doesn't, there's a waiting list for them to get on in an event that somebody goes out. A good movie to watch is understand, and everybody here can understand. It's kind of outdated now, but it's called Waiting for Superman, and it shows the beginnings of like the charter school movement and how devastating it was for some people not to get in some of these schools. However, things have changed a lot in New York because now there's so many choices. Like you have Our Own Success, you have KIP, and several KIPs. You have Democracy Prep. You have, there's so many people that actually steal ideas from, in addition to traditional public schools. So I know that these things have been things that have helped the education in New York City itself.
Thank you. Senator Klosky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jason, great listening to you. I want to thank you for your testimony and what you're sharing from the middle school principal, from the high school principal. I want to share something that I think makes a difference with what we're trying to do here. And we were at the center of a lot of the development of the Secondary School Principals Association, NASSP, the Breaking Ranks Report, if you're familiar with that. And that's been the major model many of us have used to become national ruler in schools of excellence.
Yeah.
And those are paths that we've done very well in the state, and across the Midwest has been very successful with that. Your numbers, your time on task with the kids, your calendar, the year long, and your teacher preparation time, the money for teacher preparation time, all that's different than what we have. So we have to work within different confines, but we're following many of the same things. PLCs, professional learning communities, how they operate, what they're doing, have all the impact that ours have. And I thank you for your explanation and for your description. I'd love to visit your school.
Yes, everybody's always welcome to come in. We have an open door. Even parents can walk in anytime. You can even ask, hey, what are you learning? And if they can't tell you, then there's a problem. Like, they should be the leaders of their own learning.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, Mr. Epting. I wish you'd move back to Nebraska because obviously you're a very inspiring principal or superintendent, and continues to be her. Are you aware of where Nebraska rates in many of its tests, like the NAEP test, and
I'm not an expert in it.
where we rank nationally?
I am not an expert in it. I have spoken with my colleagues who invited me here, and like I said, the numbers that I saw, I'm like, heck yes, Nebraska, this is how we do things. That's awesome. I saw that. However, the thing is, but if you're not doing that for every kid, then there's still room for growth and improvement.
There's always room for growth.
And I get that.
You've got room for growth here too.
Absolutely.
School, so
Absolutely. So what I'm trying to say though is, while we can tout those numbers, that everybody should be proud of the work that our public school teachers do in Nebraska all throughout the state. However, there's some attention that needs to go to some of these areas that are the most high needs, and these are the people that you can call sometimes the leftovers or the left behinds. It's not fair to them. We should give them something, and there's a model out there that can help. I think that this model would help tremendously for those areas, not for everybody, just for those areas, so that those kids can have a different kind of experience and feel the way that some of my kids have felt over the last 11 years.
well, just the area you're talking about partly is Omaha and North Omaha.
Omaha, yeah.
Lincoln and Omaha, most people, and you may think that Nebraska is still ethnically homogeneous, and we now have 32% of our public school students are from minority groups. So that's a huge change when you were here in school. It's a huge change from when I was in school. So, the changes that have occurred are something that the schools are dealing with, and I think that the fact that the Department of Education is and say, oh, well, never mind, you guys don't do it right. We're going to come in with this whole other system. It isn't 100% working anywhere. And it's in states that don't have as high scores as we have. It makes me wonder about what it's all about, and I bristle on it. So
I understand your concern, Senator, but the thing is, I want to keep coming back to this. There's models out there that actually work, and we shouldn't be afraid of those models. And the thing is, I tout like Lincoln Public Schools. My son goes to Lincoln Public Schools. He's now he actually goes to the University of Nebraska now. So that's wonderful. However, it doesn't excuse what's happening in Omaha North. It doesn't excuse even one school. And that's the whole thing. Like, I want us to zoom in on that because we can be so much better. As soon as we start it, like, I would like to come back in 2 years or 3 years and come back and hear you tout that Omaha North has the same success that you have had at Lincoln Public Schools. But, however, I think you can do that if at the end, if there's a choice. Like, and here's the other thing. Who are we to say that parents shouldn't have that choice of this other thing that they've seen that have worked in other places that Nebraskan kids can't have that because we are holding on to, oh, we're going to fix it. I just don't think that's acceptable.
it's state tax dollars that the taxpayers
Well, is it
pay that's available.
But we're not
that has
taking
to make
any
it
state
available
tax
to
dollars.
everybody.
Even every charter school gets a per pupil. If you look at it that way, it's like we can look at it as
How much does
holistic.
your school get from the state of New
We
York?
get 75 cents to the dollar, which for per pupil
So
funding.
how much money is that?
That's about $12,000 for each student, and if they have an IEP, it's a little bit more. Every state is
And how
different.
many students do you have?
And we have 300 in my school.
Okay. And
So-
how many administrators do you have?
I have myself. I have 2 deans of students and a bunch of awesome teachers.
How many teachers do you have?
36.
All right, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Look back to Nebraska and help
Any other
us.
questions?
My wife will kill me. No.
Any questions? Thank you, Jason. What year did you graduate?
1994.
My son played basketball with your younger brother then.
Jerron. Yeah. I played with him too. He
You
was
look
good.
alike. His your brother.
Yeah. I remember. No, I taught those kids how to play well. They're good.
I wish your younger your siblings.
Yeah,
That's how you learn to teach.
I beat them up a little. They needed that. Now they're good kids. You know.
But do you sense, does it bother you like it bothers me, that there's a competition somehow that we're competing, a public school is competing with a charter or a private school, or we seem to think alike being around North Platte, that it's about the individual child, that a child only has one shot at a good education, only one shot. You don't throw him in with an average and say the whole state's doing good. Isn't that where you're coming from, that one child needs that opportunity, and we can't say, well, the whole state's doing just great.
That's true.
But there's a group of children in a certain area that need an opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Is that what you're doing?
Yes, sir.
And what I really appreciated you saying was, no excuses, high expectations.
Yes, sir.
It seems around here we have competition between school districts about who has the highest assisted on food stamps, who has the highest special needs, as if it's a badge of honor and saying everybody's equal and everybody deserves a shot. Now that's my lecture for the day.
Thank you.
But
It's motivating. Thank you.
you work with individual children, and you work with the public school in your district.
Yes.
You're part of the public education system in New York.
Yes.
You're not a private school off by its own.
Nope.
And you get 75% of what a student costs per student in the district you're working in.
Yes, sir.
And you get by with that, or do you have public-private donations?
We have private donations as well. So if someone decides to give to the cause of our school, they give to the cause of our school, and then we operate our network and those things using those funds. But really, I conduct my budget on that.
What's your graduation rate?
98%, and close to 100%, and then 98% of our students. 98% of our students go on to 4-year colleges.
Is that from the day they enter? Do they start them in elementary school?
So it changes. It changed when I first started. It was a 5th through 12th charter, but actually we wrote the charter for it to be K through 12. So now we finally meet that up. I have had 5th graders come in.
How many years have been in existence?
This has been in existence 12 years, and I've been there 11.
So you're getting some of the first graduates coming through, going off to college through the
They're
system.
about to graduate.
accepted in the college.
Yeah, so I have some kids who are graduating this year, like in May.
All right. So when that child was in your charter, it didn't hurt the public school.
No.
The student was getting an education, no matter which school he was at.
Yes.
That
And
purpose.
most of the testimonies are because our expectations are super high. Like, for instance, we don't say that 65% is passing, 80% is passing. So if you don't make 80%, you're not passing. Just that connotation itself for someone that's usually like, hey, it's okay as long as you're behaving, you're doing okay. That's not what we're here for. We're here for pushing the expectation and making them shoot for the moon and go beyond.
We've got a long night, and you gave us a very good practical experience of what is happening. Thank you.
Right. I will come back and help if you guys need. I promise.
Madison Middle School might still be open if you came back.
Danny McMurtry's over there. He's a good kid too.
He's a good guy. He's trying. Next.